No 404 Boxing and More here. Shout out to the LDBC. This morning, real quick, I want to talk about Keith Thurman once again. That's one of the hot topics going in boxing. Thurman's supposed to be returning. They're talking about Thurman fighting Josesito Lopez, possibly first quarter of next year. Even talking as early as January. My thoughts on that. First and foremost, I'll believe it when I see it. Guys, I stated this before. Keith Thurman's been coming back longer than Jesus, and he's yet to make an appearance. Waiting to see if it's real. You know, not me seeing videos of Thurman in camp. Not me seeing videos of even videos of Thurman sparring. I have to see Keith Thurman's name on a banner actually saying the fight had been scheduled, or at least some kind of release from PBC or something of the sort announcing an actual fight. I feel like more times than not now we're getting information, that's released saying this is happening, that is happening, and we're going ahead and coming out, making videos on it, talking about it, doing live chats about it, and really going in depth about what the story is, and then only for a couple of days later to find out the story was just that, a fable. It was a story that wasn't real, and we helped spread it. So I just want to see some proof, so that maybe we can get a sight. I mean, I'm eager to see what Keith Thurman brings to the welterweight division when he comes back. I mean, for all intents and purposes, the expectation should be that Thurman's gonna be rusty. Coming back initially, getting into the ring, he's gonna have to get that ring rust off. He's gonna have to really push himself in camp to get conditioned. Everybody knows Thurman's a little, every time you see him, he's a little heavy when he's doing interviews, or when you see him getting caught in a photo. Thurman's, walking around quite a bit bigger than he was when he was staying active. So he has to get that weight off of him first, and then he has to get himself conditioned for boxing. It's well chronicled that if a fighter has to shed a whole bunch of weight going into a camp, that doesn't leave a whole lot of time to actually get himself conditioned for the sport of boxing. That doesn't leave a lot of time to actually get himself ready for an actual fight. And that's what I want to see. That's Thurman in tip-top shape, the best shape that, the shape that we're used to seeing Keith Thurman in, if and when he has his next fight. I don't want to see him coming in there, some guy just barely made weight, he's struggling. Struggling with a guy that he typically wouldn't struggle with. Even though I've seen Keith Thurman struggle with some guys that I felt like if he was who people say he was, he wouldn't be struggling with these guys. But that's my vantage point. But all that being said, with the potential opponent being Josesito Lopez, the one thing that we know about Lopez from his past fights, is he will fight. I don't think he goes into a fight ever thinking he's outclassed. I think he's one of those guys that's a typical, underdog who really believes he's supposed to be in these fights and really believes in himself, and he pushes himself as far as he can to try to get the win. And that showed when he overcame the Victor Ortiz fight. Because Victor Ortiz, for all intents and purposes, was winning the fight. But Lopez just never stopped coming, and eventually he caught Victor Ortiz with his mouth open and broke his jaw. And Ortiz couldn't fight on. And they stopped the fight, So, not saying, excuse me, I'm tired this morning. Not saying that I expect him to go out there and break Keith Thurman's jaw should they fight. But what I do expect is for Lopez to continue to come. You know, to give as good as he's getting until something dramatic happens in the fight. Whether that's, you know, him getting stopped or whatever. You know, I just don't expect him to go out there and be a pushover, because I've never seen that for him before. Even in fights against, you know, some guys like Canelo, you know, I've seen him go out there and fight until the fight got beat out of him, so to speak, or until the ref got tired of seeing him take a beat. Man, that's the kind of guy he was, you know, kind of fighter he is, so to speak. And I'll say it's kind of like that Alfonso S. Gomez guy that used to I think he was Arturo Gatti's last opponent. He for all intents and purposes retired Arturo Gatti. But you know, he was that type of fighter that even if he was overmatched or whatever, I don't think in his mind he saw it that way. He went out there and fought with a self-belief that he belonged in there with any of these guys, and fought as if he expected to win the fight. So, you know, if this is the fight that Keith Thurman has for a comeback fight, I know Jesse Vargas' name was kicked around for a minute, and you know what I'm saying, that was something that I actually look forward to, because sure enough, Jesse Vargas isn't your prototypical tune-up or somebody you want to fight come back off a long layoff. But if Keith Thurman is the elite welterweight that he's advertised to be, tuning up against a guy like Jesse Vargas should not be an insurmountable task. Should be something he could do with relative ease. But we'll see. Hopefully he comes back, has the fight with Josesito Lopez, and hopefully the fans get a good fight. I hope we get an exciting fight. I wouldn't expect anything less from a Keith Thurman fight or a Josesito Lopez fight. Shout out to the LDBC. Shout out to my subscribers. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Hit that like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. I'm out. Peace.